If you do want to join the conversation, you can. It's 05-86861003 or the toll-free number is 800-81003. Lachlan Kitchen and Neil Lodger here. And our next guest, Neil, is someone who is a master in decentralised crypto content.
That's right. Nitin Narkhede joining us. He's the founder of Rightsfually and an ally of the Phanisha network. Nitin, welcome to TSB.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here today. Thanks a lot.
How did you first get involved in working in the crypto industry?
Oh, that's a very interesting story. I have been in corporate all my life, 20 years. And as part of my job profile, I was responsible for innovation and finding out new technologies, which actually improvise the productivity and reduce it and improvise the efficiency in the system. And as part of that, we were looking for new technology and I bumped into blockchain.
Okay.
Very early, late 2015s. And then in 2016, we set up the first center of excellence for blockchain in India in any of the corporates. And while I was vice president of innovation at an Emphasis, and from there, we started kind of exploring what blockchain is because there was no documentation available.
True.
And it was extremely difficult to get the setup going in the corporate world. Because of STPI licenses, and we are bringing in the open network, so it was a huge task there, and that's how we started learning about it. We did not know whether it is a package, whether it's a language, and we started learning about it, what blockchain is, and how it can possibly help.
When we're looking at the future, we've spoken to a lot of people specifically about Web3 content, and so many people are attracted to Dubai when it comes to entering into NFTs. But for someone who has got their business and they hear about Web3 and they hear about NFT, where is the best place for them to go to really start their pathway for education on the topic?
Okay, so there's a ton of content available on YouTube and today, right? I mean, so you can just listen to a lot of stuff out there. I think NFT is not anymore kind of a. It's very, very popular. It's very known. Many people are kind of providing courses and brief education. It depends upon how much you want to explore, right? Whether you just want a knowledge about it, YouTube is best. Whether you want basically to actually do some hands-on work on it, then there are certain open, courses which are available, and Coursera provides that, and there are many others also actually providing that on YouTube as well. But I think that those are the primarily one.
Right. I mean, as you know, we've been talking about blockchain technology doing so much in various fields, but when it comes to content creation, which has taken the world by storm with, the social media coming in, with other OTT platforms coming in, literally everyone is in the race of creating more and more content because, hey, as we say, content is the king.
Right.
How does blockchain come in, progression with content creators, helping them, and where does your company Rightsfually come in?
Right. So this is a little bit futuristic, if I may call it, right?
Okay.
I mean, so the traditional model was platform driven, right? Which is Web 2, right? And the platforms basically acquire the content and then they will disseminate the content, right, on their platforms, respective platforms. The subscribers are owned by the platform, the revenues, the views, the data, everything is owned by the platform, right? And the creators would possibly do a MG kind of a deal, or it may be in rare circumstances they may also do a rev share kind of a deal, right? And the problem here is the systems are not so transparent, right? And that's where the blockchain comes in, right? Where you will provide an opportunity for the creators for the first time to own the content, own the data, own the subscribers, and define the revenue streams for themselves.
Okay.
Right. So Web3 is all about decentralizing the content dissemination, content ownership, and bringing in absolute transparency in the entire content cycle that you are doing.
Look, it's one of the great things about YouTube for that same purpose, that previously, if you wanted to get your television show, you had 2 or 3 major networks, you'd have to pitch to them, you might already have to come in with advertisers, you might have to find a gap, there might be someone else who's already on there, you may not have gone to the right school, there's someone who makes the decision.
Right.
Now it's that completely transparency, I'm going to put it out to the open market, and if it's good enough, it will find an audience. And is that, and are you looking at sort of what your work that you do at Rightsfually.com and your work in Web3, it just takes that to the next level where you can then even monetize it even further?
Right. So Rightsfually is a little bit bigger concept.
Okay.
It actually covers the entire content lifecycle, right from inception, by inception I mean it could be script, it could be book, it could be anything, where the content journey starts for a creator. And so you can now protect that particular bit of the content or piece that you have created on Rightsfually on chain. And you have a tokenized version of it. You have a identity for the creation that you have done, and now that creation is passing through multiple departments or multiple people, and while it is going from inception to production to distribution to dissemination, there are stakeholders involved in all these stages, right? Now these guys can be rights holders as well onto that content, because you may have producer coming in, right? And he may become your stakeholder as well onto the content. Now there are two guys. One is creator, and then now it's a producer, and so on and so forth, right? It goes on creating. So Rightsfually actually allows you to kind of capture that content on the chain, distribute that content on thousands of platforms across the world, and then you can also connect through the alley. You can also connect it to disseminate it to these platforms, digital platforms across the world.
So Nitin, would it be worthwhile if you're a podcast creator or even the show that Neil and I do, how would this show be best worked to be distributed through something like Rightsfually?
Okay, so usually if it is, let's say that this particular show is your proprietary stuff, right?
Okay.
And then you need to kind of look at how you are generating revenues, how your viewers are responding to it, the data behind that.
Yeah.
Now that is something which you can control completely, right? Now, so let's say that you create an identity for a particular show, let's say 4 p.m. show.
Sure.
Right? Yeah. And it goes with, let's say, a particular date, whatever name you give, right?
Okay.
Now that particular show has a celebrity, right? So now if you want to kind of have that interaction, played multiple times on different platforms, how would you kind of make sure that this show has an identity, this show, and you have a capability to distribute it now in a secured and known fashion to multiple platforms? And when it goes on the multiple platforms, the revenue that it generates is coming back to you.
Now on that, just to help people who aren't as familiar with it as you are, Nitin, when you say multiple platforms,
right?
Do you mean different browsers, different devices? What's your definition of multiple platforms?
Yeah, it could be, the platform could be anything. It could be your public platforms, it could be private platforms. And let's say in films, right? Film has around 70 to 80 rights on, and it goes into there are only two forms which we know as a common person, right? It could be a theater or it could be your OTT.
Okay.
Yeah. But then it goes into your aircrafts. It goes into your cruise, right? So there could be a private viewing as well onto that, and there are multiple models which are available there. So all those are platforms.
Okay, but just to help people listening, I think most people still aren't familiar with OTT being over-the-top platforms.
That's correct.
So what platforms do you actually mean? I mean, smartphones? Is that a platform?
Yeah, yes, smartphone is also a platform, but it is a device.
Okay,
actually.
So that's a device. But if I want to consume it, then do I just go through Safari?
Yes, so a device, there is a platform attached to a device, right? It will.
Okay, sure.
So smartphone has, let's say, for example, an alley as a platform, right? Now that alley is running on your smartphone, so alley becomes your platform.
Okay, so it's an app.
It could be an app as well.
Right.
It could be your TV content as well. It could be
like Netflix and YouTube. You mean?
Yes.
Okay.
But Netflix, of course, is an OTT which cannot be covered at this point of time on Rightsfually, because it's not, we are not integrated yet.
Okay.
Right. But for smaller platforms which are digital OTTs, digital video platforms, right, apps, all these can be integrated if you have those synergies.
Okay, excellent.
This is interesting. So it does give creators more opportunities to actually reach out to more people, which otherwise would not have been the case.
Yes.
Right.
And one is reach out. Second, have a complete control of their content with them.
Right.
So tomorrow you have all the rights to really take it and sell it to someone.
Okay.
You own that content, right? You own that data behind that, which is all about for you to prove how successful were you with this content in different geographies.
Yeah, and I think that's a great thing to be able to do. That also you're able to control, because there's so much piracy that if you own that NFT and it gets reproduced, there's also the opportunity for the content creator to financially not miss out.
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. So all those revenue leakages which are happening today can be arrested, and you get. Yeah. You get your dues.
How are we going to play any music anymore? Nitin Narkhede, thank you very much for coming in and joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. Thanks a lot. Pleasure.
If you join, what's the best website people can go to get more information?
I am available at the-alley.com.
Okay.
As well as Rightsfually.com.
Rightsfually.com. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you very much.
TSB, Talk Sport Business on Talk